What's up, family? Good morning. So let's take a look here, guys, at the futures, and we can see the Qs up just about 1%, guys. And then we take a look at the S&P futures. Oops. Right, and just shy of 1% as well. So we're getting a little bit of a bounce here this morning after a nice day of selling yesterday, guys. So the question is, heading into today's session, are they really coming in here buying the dip, or is this bounce, more so of a trap, and then we're going to continue to roll over? So, what we saw yesterday, guys, was potentially, signs of the end of rotation. What I mean by that is, last Friday, we started seeing money coming out of the tech stocks, and that capital started rotating into sectors like finance, energy, industrials, transportation. That kind of rotation can hold the market up, guys, even if they're not necessarily buying up the tech names and the semi names, right? That strong rotation, it can be enough to kind of hold the market up. But when that rotation comes to an end, really, guys, kind of, a better way to look at it is when they're no longer buying anything, that's when the market is a little bit liable to start coming on into the downside. So, take a look at a couple of those sectors, guys, where we were seeing those signs of rotation. The industrials, for example, XLI, big gap up yesterday, but then they did nothing but take profits all day, right? The energy sector, nice gap up yesterday, but they did nothing but take profits, right? Just completely losing basically all the day's gains. The financial sector, guys, same thing over here. And then you got the transportation sector, which is just going nuts. Another gap up, but all they did was take profits. So you can see, guys, the pump in these names here during the rotation. But yesterday it looks like that rotation is potentially coming to an end. So during today's session, guys, particularly, in the early hours, that's something to pay attention to. Do they start buying those other names again, right? The industrials, energy, etc. Or do they continue to take profits there, right? Do they begin to buy tech names and semi names on this dip? Or do they continue to sell them? Continue to focus on that big picture there. So, as far as that goes there, guys, we take a look here at some weekly charts. All right, and check this out, right? Let's get the squeeze up here. And guys, as a general statement, we kind of take a look at, say, the Qs. If we look at the TTM squeeze indicator here, we've really kind of lost all that bullish momentum here, guys, over the last 2 weeks. So even from a bigger picture perspective, right, the weekly chart, we're losing some of that momentum, guys. We're losing some of that momentum there. Take a look at the SPY. And very much the same thing. So the market, guys, has been pumping like crazy here on the back of all that momentum. Now we're starting to see, right, not just in the indexes, but as well as some of these leading names here. We're losing that momentum here on the weekly chart. So this doesn't necessarily mean, guys, that we're going to get some big, nasty, ugly pullback. It just means that things may chop around for a little bit, right? Which to me, as you guys know, that's a reason where, if I'm going to play the daily squeeze here on Amazon, I much prefer to do the put credit spread. Knowing that we're kind of losing momentum here on that bigger time frame, the weekly, and because of that, we could potentially just chop around back and forth. Now, if you go with the naked calls, it's not a good proposition. If you're shorting options in the opposite direction, the chop is, there's nothing wrong with it. So those are some things, guys, from a big picture perspective that I'm taking in mind right now, taking into consideration, rather. And then we look at the 21, next, couple of months here, guys, as we head into the new year, this is the one thing I want to continue to pound into your head, right? Just this concept of reversion to the mean. Amazon gave us that reversion to the mean. Facebook started coming on in yesterday, right? Got plenty of room to go. Apple has got plenty of room to go. Now take this into consideration, guys. Even if Apple just comes down here to test that gap level, or Apple comes down here and fills the gap, that's going to drag the rest of tech with it. Now, in the event that Apple actually comes towards the 21, it's definitely going to drag the rest of tech with it. So make sure y'all keep that in mind. Nvidia, right? Starting to come on down here, guys. Take a look at what happened to AMD yesterday. It ran too far away from the 21, so you get this ugly ass drop, down a good 5-6% yesterday, coming on in towards the 21. The Qs, right? Everything's making that reversion to the mean right now, guys, is a general statement, except for the S&P 500. The only reason, in my opinion, that we've avoided that reversion to the mean in the SPY here was because of all that rotation taking place. So now, guys, if they're going to continue to take profits in all the sectors that they rotated into, one of two things is going to happen here. One, tech stocks and semi stocks are going to wake up and pull the market forward, or they don't, and we begin to see the market come in. Those are the big things to focus on right now, guys. And the one other thing I wanted to cover with y'all this morning is just, patience pays, guys. Right? Couple of squeezes I've been looking at here, but they never gave me a reason to enter, right? Zoom, completely firing, guys, in the opposite direction. So remember, with the squeezes, we're building up energy, and then the energy is getting released. This is just an instance, guys, where the energy got released to the downside. So we don't want to have a bias with these squeezes. And you can see down here on the indicator, we never really got that bullish momentum coming in. Another good example, guys, here is Tesla, who is bouncing up here nicely this morning on some stock split news. But nonetheless, don't fight the squeeze. The momentum has been building to the downside. All Tesla's done here is fade lower. And as I mentioned, right, take a look at the hourly chart and making a nice bounce here this morning. Nonetheless, though, this bounce just kind of brings it right back above the 21. So not that crazy there. But that's about it, guys. From a bigger picture perspective, as far as my focus list, I'm watching Amazon in this daily squeeze. I like this one a lot. Continuing to be patient. She came back down to the 21. And then for Nvidia, waiting for this one to potentially come on down to that 21 as well. That's about it, guys. So I wish you all the best of luck today. Talk to you soon.